to offense, defense, and special teams for Grambling. So we did a lot this week.
Come on,
but we went down to Grambling, and we knew it was going to be a tough environment. You know, their homecoming. They had to get backs up against the wall there. They had a loss. So we knew they was going to fight. Coach Fobbs was going to have those guys ready. And we went out and did what we wanted to do. We got out to a 14-zip lead and wasn't able to sustain it. Then they went on a 24 unanswered scoring barrage and was up 24-14 at halftime. And so we said we got to go in and readjust. And actually, the defense was playing good. The offense was just putting them in bad situations. We had a penalty after a touchdown, marked off 15 yards, so they got to start at the 50. Then we turned the ball over, gave it to them on that side. And they did a sky kick and recovered it, had a short field and hit the quarterback. He fumbled. They scooped and scored. And so just seemed like everything could go wrong for us did and everything go right for them did. But you got to take your hats off to Coach Fobbs. He had his guys ready to play. And so they came out, scored first in the third quarter, got us down. Then fourth quarter, we tried to make a comeback. We scored twice. And then we got the ball back with 2 minutes and like 15 seconds left, down 6 points. Right where we want to be, as bad as we had played and as good as they played. And we still had the opportunity to win the game. And one of our balls got tipped and intercepted, and that kind of did it for us. So unfortunate, you know, we had 6 turnovers. You're not going to be able to beat anybody with 6 turnovers and 1 on special teams. So really 7 turnovers. You're not going to be able to beat any teams with 7 turnovers and much less a good football team. So we got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. We've been doing it all year long. We turned it over 3 times a game, the first 3 games. And we were fortunate. We were really fortunate to be 3-1 with 15 turnovers in 4 football games. So we got a lot of work to do, and we got to get going.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open up for questions for Coach Maynor. If you do have any questions for Coach, if you would please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in queue for Coach. Our first question goes to Rashad Milligan.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Now moving on to next week, bouncing back from last week's loss. You know, what are you really seeing from Jackson State so far and kind of your early scouting report?
They got a good football team. They're much improved. Coach Sanders has done a good job with those guys in a short period of time. The spring of last year and the fall of this year. The biggest improvement, of course, has been on defense. Last year they gave a lot of points. They played a lot of cover 2 and didn't really change anything. And this year they're playing a lot of man. They blitzing. They come from everywhere. They playing fast and they got a good defense. Not giving up a lot of points. So offensively, they're not as good as they were last year for whatever reason. But assured, the quarterback is Deion's son is playing well at quarterback. But for whatever reason, they're just not putting up the points they did last year. So they'll get it worked out. Hopefully not this week. But they got a good football team, and we got to be ready to play, and we will.
And a quick follow-up to that, you know, how do you expect your guys to respond? You know, you guys have, as been discussed before, ranked in the FCS poll, #1 in a lot of SWAC and Black college football rankings throughout the year, reigning SWAC champions. And then, you know, you kind of get punched in the mouth this past weekend. How do you expect your guys to respond to that?
Like champions, we're gonna fight back. We're gonna punch back. And Rogers said it best, man. It's one game. It's one game. So nobody said we was gonna win them all. You know, again, take our hats off to Coach Fobbs and congratulate him on a good win at home. But we okay. We still control our own destiny. You know, we lost on to the other side, and so if we can just take care of business this week and the next week, just one at a time, and went out, we still control our own destiny. We're fine. We just got to clean up some stuff.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about turnovers being kind of a bugaboo for you guys early in the season, particularly with your quarterback, Akil Glass. He had 4 against Grambling on Saturday. What did Grambling do against him that made Saturday so difficult for him?
Well, they just fly around, man. They go hard every play, but it was a lot of tip balls. I think 3 of the interceptions was tipped, and that's part of the game, though. They defensive linemen or they linebackers got their hands up and tipped balls and made plays, and that's part of the game, So, again, hats off to those guys. They played hard and they caused those turnovers. So we got to get it cleaned up where we throw it around them, get those hands down, and just sure up our protections and take care of the football. That's as simple as that.
And one quick follow-up. Saturdays is going to be a big game for you guys playing against Jackson State, who, as you said earlier, is a much improved football team. How do you not overstate the importance of that game and what it means for the SWAC East standings?
Well, it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next football game, not because it's Jackson, not because it's homecoming. It's the next football game, and it's always going to be that way. This game sets up the next game. So we got to take care of business this week to make the next game, whoever we play next week, the biggest game of the season. And it will be because it'll be the next game. So you got to take them one at a time. You can't look ahead. You can't look past. It's a tough conference, and you can get beat every week, man. You mess around and look up, you've been lost 3 or 4 in a row. So you got to stay focused and take them one at a time.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Maynor,
Doc.
top 5 matchup. I know this is what we do on the media side. We get excited about these matchups, but for you, it's just another game. For the players, you got to keep them focused. Talk about all the things around that and what do you do over the years to get your team to focus and not worry about being homecoming, not worry about the media talking about top 5 matchups, the game of the week, or television, all that good stuff.
That's all good. You want to play in games like that. You want the games to mean something. You want the guys to get fired up. You want those guys to want to practice, want to lift weights, want to watch extra tape, want to do some extra running. You want the game to mean something. You want to be in this position where you got a TV game, you got a big game. It means something. You don't want to be playing in a game where it don't matter if you lose the game, you win the game, the guys ain't fired up, nobody's enthusiastic. This is what we live for. This is what we work for. This is why we come here. And this is a big game this week. And but you got to continue to do the little things. You got to continue to do your film study. You got to continue to work hard in practice. You got to continue to lift weights and work hard, and let all the other stuff fall where it may. We don't worry about the step shows and comedy shows and all the other shows. Our guys ain't going to that. The guys on my football team that go to those things are regular students. Okay. If you go to one of those things, you will be a regular student because that's what the regular students do. That's homecoming is for them. It's for the alumni. So you want to go to that stuff, that's fine with me. You won't be playing football for A&M. So that's how I keep them focused.
Makes sense, Coach. No problem. I'll make sure I let all y'all know how all those things went.
All right. Okay.
Take care, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Thank you for
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Okay. Hey, Coach Sanders, I hurt my ankle getting off the bus the other day. You got an extra scooter for me? If you got an extra scooter, send me one down here. Thank you.
All right, time is now 10:15. Happy to be joined by Coach Ely with Alabama State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, Coach. As always, Coach, appreciate you taking some time to join us on these media sessions. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Florida A&M.
Again, we went to Florida A&M and had told the guys all week it was going to definitely be a hostile environment playing in that area. And we just didn't show up. I mean, they were able to get some scores, 21 points within the first quarter, and kind of had us playing from behind. And we was able to slow them down, but we wasn't able to get anything going offensively. Head goes off. Coach Simmons did a great job of, scheming us with some things that he saw us doing defensively. It took us a while to get adjusted with that. And then offensively, we never got off the bus. It was just a real pathetic showing of offense. And, and we'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it moving on and make the adjustments. As I told the young men, coming after the game is that, now we're in a position where we got to play. We got our first loss in the East, puts us 1-1 in the East. We're not out of it. The key is still making plays every week. So the whole, whole thing that we're trying to do is just get these guys to execute week in and week out. And from coming off of the Bethune play and going into the game, definitely didn't expect to go out and have that kind of performance. But, again, they got guys on scholarships and coaches on payroll, and they did a great job of taking us behind the shed and letting us have it.
Appreciate those opening comments. Coach, we'll now open up for questions for Coach Hill-Eley. If you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Our first question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing just fine, sir. Look, last time you were down here in Pine Bluff, you guys didn't get to finish the game because of the weather. How much, in addition to coming off your last game, how much is Alabama State chomping at the bit to be able to, play this game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, given you all didn't get to finish due to the weather?
You know what? It's one of those ones we get another opportunity to play. Pine Bluff got a real good program. Doc Gamble, a good friend of mine, been knowing a long time, is doing a great job with the team. And you're talking about that team is maybe 2 plays away from being undefeated in the conference. So they're doing a good job, and we're looking forward to the challenge of them coming here and us being able to clean up this stuff that we've messed up this last week, and taking the field and giving these guys another lesson that is to how to respond to adversity.
Do you think you'll have any problems preparing for maybe 2 quarterbacks, because UAPB brought in another quarterback during their game against Prairie View A&M?
I mean, there's always a problem, when you're preparing for one, but when you're preparing for 2, it just takes a little bit more game planning. And but I'm quite sure Coach Pearson and those guys are, around the hall working on coming up with something now, just trying to find a way to slow them down.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Currently taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley with Alabama State. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley. Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Doc.
How you doing there, Doc?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
Thank you. Back a little bit, going down to Tallahassee in terms of that game, what's the biggest component that you saw in the game in terms of physicality, what they bring? And I know you expected that, talking about last week, actually being after the game. What did you see in terms of what took place in the game?
They just came out with the intensity. We knew that and as I stressed to the young men all week, that this was their second Eastern game. They previously lost a game to Jackson, and that they were going to come out with everything to lose. That they didn't want a second loss in the East, and we didn't match their intensity. Those kids came out. Coach had those kids fired up, ready to go, and from our pregame, we executed and everything went well. Coming back out of the locker room, it's almost like I came out with a whole different set of young men, and for whatever reason, I don't know if they got caught in the stands or whatever happens, it still goes down that I didn't get them, ready to play, and that's what I got to do as a coach, is getting them ready to play regardless of where we're playing.
Now moving on to this week, as you said, Pine Bluff, but you're back in the comfort zone. Does that refocus, galvanize your team, or are they just going back to get what they do to move things forward? You know what? We got, as I told them this morning, we got to get things together. We're going against the, Western champs. These guys have been in the championship game. They know how to play, and they've been in every game that they've played. So, we got to get it together to even have a chance to beat this team. Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Taking questions, Coach Healy with Alabama State. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Hey, thank you all.
All right, I do see that we have Coach McNair with us. Once again, for all of our media here on attendance, if you do have any questions for Coach, if you would please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach McNair. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, obviously no game for the Braves this past week. If you could just kind of recap your bye week for us.
Well, it's a great opportunity for us to kind of get healthy in this bye week we had, get some guys back that were really needed due to injuries and things of that nature. You know, just kind of worked hard on us the first week and see what we can do to kind of self-scout ourselves and prepare to see what some of the things that breaks our tennis as well. Did a great job of that and the preparation for Grambling coming up this week. So got a tough job ahead of us. You know, Coach Fobbs has done a great job that football program, keeping them together, you know, and got a lot of talent. They're gonna play hard. They're gonna fight. Got a great core of receivers and tight end that they're gonna look forward to seeing. And linebacker Blake Thomas, he's a great athlete. Ryan Powell, a good backer that's going to create habits. So you got to be prepared for it and get ready to play a good football team coming in.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. One up for questions for Coach McNair. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach McNair. Coach, obviously you kind of pointed out to Grambling State in the win last week, big win against Alabama A&M. When you look at the play at quarterback, obviously the freshman Noah Bodden stepped in and had a really good game. When you looked at him on film, what are some of the things that stood out to you?
He got a live arm. He got a live arm, and he threw the ball well. We just got to prepare to put some people in his face to get him to move around a little bit for what we need to do in terms of him. Throw the ball hard. I mean, he got a good arm. Just got to prepare to rally him a little bit and make sure he's not comfortable back there in that pocket to make those throws to those great wide receivers and Greg White, you know, great wide receiver, makes a lot of catches. Kobe Ross, great wide receiver, he can make a lot of plays. Right now, we just got to make sure we put somebody in his face to kind of slow him down a little bit for his passing and what he do.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach McNair, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, man.
Hey, where's your team now from where you started when you played North Carolina Central?
I see a lot of big improvements in what we're doing. Not making the mistakes right now that we made against Central. Not neglecting their great effort and their coaching style down there. But, you know, I think we'd improve all across the board. We had a little breakdown against Pine Bluff on special teams. I think we've made some adjustments that we need to make during the bye week in preparation to get that corrected. Guys are playing hard. They're playing fast, and they create turnovers and things of that nature. So that's the thing that we have to watch out for against Grambling. You know, got to minimize our turnovers and not have them, and also create turnovers on the defense. So eliminate the mistakes that we made against Pine Bluff on special teams and just take care of the football and just execute and be fundamentally sound. I think it's going to be the key.
Coach, I know a lot of players have changed from 2019, but there are some holdovers. And the last time you took on the G-Men, you guys lost in overtime 19-16. If there's anything that sticks out about that game or any players that could be a factor in the game, do you remember?
Yeah, the biggest thing was that our kicker got hurt in pregame and on his plant foot. So that was a big minus for us. In pregame, he got hurt and wasn't able to pull the ball the way he should have. Everything he pushed instead of hooking it But other than that, just minimize the turnovers and things of that nature. Grambling is good about getting turnovers. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing coming to this ball game. How well we take care of the football and how can we get turnovers from them, get takeaways. So just looking at that point, from 19 up until now, biggest difference, special teams and turnovers.
And Grambling's defense has played really well the past couple of weeks. So how important will the battle for field position be in this game?
And that's always big, especially when you're punting the ball, you got to flip the field for them. Being able to flip the field in punt situations and pinning them back. Their defense been playing outstanding. So they've been steady. They've been that way for a long time. So I think Coach Fobbs has done a great job with his defensive schemes and in terms of that and what they do on defense. So I guess the biggest thing is, just to kind of get a clue in on the things that they're doing well and try to slow them down a little bit, So we have an opportunity to do that. I think Coach Ratton is doing a great job on the offensive side of the ball right here and trying to put something together for his game plan to offset that defensive pass rush and all the blitz that they do.
All right, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. Over the weekend, there was some news within your athletic program where your athletic director stepped down after 7 years. What do you make of that development, and how could that possibly impact your football program?
Well, the biggest thing is, as a football coach, you try to keep distraction away as much as you can. I think that this coaching staff has done a tremendous job of holding these guys together in terms of things with the administration part, keeping ourselves away from that and doing the right thing with these young men that we're mentoring and making sure they understand what the process and how things work with the administration. Things of that nature happens. And, just so it happened. And, this ball team got to still play. We got to make sure that we're doing the right things and what we do as coaches to make sure there's no distraction as far as the administration part. I think we've done a great job of keeping a grab of these young men that we got and making sure they understand in the process. And even in the team meeting this morning, we just talked to the players about what we have to do as a group, just staying focused and doing what we have to do to take care of our own business.
And a quick follow-up to that, how did you and Dr. Horn get along? Was the rapport good between you and him personally and with the football team?
Well, always as an administrator and a coach, you always have to get along with your administrator. I think that we did a great job of communicating in some aspect of it. We don't always see the eye, and that's everything. Some men and my coaches don't see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, it's all about business. And, just looking at that from that aspect of it, I think that's the way it was taken care of. It's all about business.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hello, Coach. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, James.
Awesome. The Grambling State University heads into the reservation to play the Alcorn State Braves. When you think about your home field atmosphere, can you talk about a premier site in HBCU football?
I tell you, one of the best I've seen, James. The crowd is phenomenal. The alumni, the tailgate, and just when you're coming in and just seeing the picture of it, it makes you want to scream. How well can it be out here on the reservation, man? And I think the administration does a great part in bringing the crowd in and doing what they have to do to get them all settled in. And as far as the tailgate and game day experience, man, it's one of the best I've been around. I'm not saying it because I'm alumnus here at Alcorn State. Just a phenomenal view that I've seen. Even when we came in, we stayed off campus in 19 for the SWAC championship, and we rode in on the bus, man. It was an unbelievable sight for me for the first time, just riding in on a bus on this campus when it's full and packed with the Jaguars and the Braves. Man, it was an unbelievable sight. So it'll be a good visit for us this week coming. So no different. Grambling gonna come in and play hard, and they're gonna bring fans as well. So our guys know the atmosphere here, and they don't get overexcited. They trust that they're gonna go out and do their job, and the fans gonna cheer them on. So it'll be a great vision for us.
Coach McNair, Mr. Felix Harper, a tremendous student athlete, a gentleman with a lot of tools. Can you talk about his development and what you see when you see a guy who's been a player of the year and he's been to the big dance, and you look at his development overall as a quarterback?
Nothing really shot for him. He's a very cool, calm guy. You know, during the course of a week of practice, you know, he always want to make sure it's right, whether it's his passes or whether it's offensive line play or whatever. You want to make sure it's right. He become a good leader in his offense, and he's just a solid leader. Does things well and likes to compete. You know, he's like to compete very hard, hard worker. You know, and things that he do, and nothing don't really distract him. He's been hit a bunch of times this past year, and so you know we don't look nothing else from him but things that go up for him and get better.
Thank you, sir. Good luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McNair, is that a learned attribute in terms of being even keel as a leader, coach in this perspective, or is that something that comes natural for you?
I don't know. It's just my demeanor. I think that it rubs off on some of these quarterbacks, man. And even when he came in, you know, he was like that too. And, you know, just coaching him up and being able to be around him. And these guys know I don't get too upset about anything. You know, just kind of keep an even keel and don't show no emotions. And that's the way he is. You know, you expect to throw touchdowns. You expect to make some completions. When things go bad, you know, you don't get frustrated. So just the demeanor that he carries, and I guess, you know, they always say players take from their head coaches, the demeanor of their head coaches a lot of times. So, you know, we can't let the kids let themselves get upset, I say, and raise a whole lot of sand on the sideline. Let's have the even keel, man. You know, just the way we carry ourselves as coaches and get the young men to understand how to play the game is the biggest part that I'm more concerned about than anything. Make sure they understand what's going on instead of, you know, just beat them up all the time. You have to love them up all the time. You can't treat all of them the same. That'd be a little different.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing that perspective.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. We now go to Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman head coach Sims. I do see we have Coach Sims with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus South Carolina State.
Well, another slow start, and that's, you know, something that's been our Achilles heel here for the last 3 or 4 games. We start slow and somehow catch a spark after halftime, and we got to get that part figured out. You know, it was I thought a good football game. It's always going to be a good game against South Carolina State. Coach Pugh and his staff, they're always going to have their guys ready to play. They came in Saturday. You know, they were riding high and feeling good, and both teams were looking for a win. And they made a few plays more than we did. We let them get out to a big lead and had to play catch up, you know, late in the game. And I think when you look at it, it was 42-7 going into the fourth quarter. And the game ended up, you know, 42-35, which that's just something that we have to play that way in the first and second quarter. To give ourselves a chance to win. And that's my job to fix that. And that's what we're working on as we speak.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Sims. Our first question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody at BCU are well these days. Mr. Black, as well as Mr. Bird, they did what they had to do. Can you talk about those two gentlemen, among others? And again, the Wildcats just continuing to compete?
Well, we're number one, and I'll start with that last. We're going to always compete. We're not going to give up. We're not going to stop playing. We're just not built that way. We just have to start it a little earlier. We have to start faster. Quayshawn Bird is as advertised, as I said last week. You know, he's a spark plug for our offense, and anytime we can get the ball in his hands, we have to, because he's a young man that's going to always give us an opportunity to be successful. Devin Black, he answered the bell on Saturday. We had a rough time starting out with Shannon, and Coach James decided to make a switch and put Devin Black in. And Devin's actually, was actually the starter coming out of camp. And Shannon kind of took it over the last couple days, before camp was over. So he's definitely capable. He came in and he provided another part to our offense that, excuse me, I think we were kind of missing. Shannon's kind of a field general. He's a game manager, and Devin gave us that, extra escapability on Saturday. And, he got us 2 or 3 key first downs when we needed them. And I think, it's a welcome addition to our offense and something that we can build on.
Coach, going forward, you'll play Mississippi Valley State. I remember covering you guys at Daytona a few years back. I know you went up the Valley recently, but maybe 3 games ago. And that was a victorious game. Can you just talk about what you envision this weekend? And again, BCU and Mississippi Valley and SWAC football.
Well, it was a victory for us, but it was not an easy victory. And, that's something that I take my hat off to Coach Dancy and his staff. He always has those guys ready to play. And since he has taken over that football program, those guys play hard, in all 3 phases. And I look forward to it. Been knowing him for a while. Really, really impressed with what he's doing with that program. It's just another, I think, welcome for us in the SWAC. It's a home game, but it'll be our 3rd SWAC game, and hopefully we can get this thing turned around and get another column in this conference.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Bill.
Coach Sims, I wanted to talk about getting started faster, as you put it. Is that a part of schematics? Is that tempo, or is that different things that you look at during practice to try to come out on game day and be able to move a little faster in terms of getting things going, both offensively and defensively for that?
Well, I think it's all of the above. It's definitely our tempo. It's coaching. It's us. We have to put the guys in better position to be successful faster, and that's just doing a few different things than we were doing, in the first couple games. We have to give them that little spark and put them in different positions. So those are things that we're working on now, and we'll work on this week in practice to try and give us that spark to start faster and be able to finish these games and continue finishing strong. But we have to start faster, and hopefully that leads to a victory for us.
Follow-up question. You talked about Coach Dancy, Mississippi Valley State head coach, having his team prepared and playing really hard. Your team obviously plays hard. You're back at home. Does that provide some salience of being back off the road early part of the season, to be at home and being ready to go this week?
Yes, it definitely. It's always great to play at home. You don't have that travel day in there, and I think it just sets your team with a little bit more of a sense of calm. So I think we'll be ready to go. We'll be settled. We went up in our penalty total again. The week before, we only had 3 penalties. I think we added about 5 to that this week, which we got we have to get that fixed. But being at home, there'll be some emotions. These guys will have their second game at home. Hopefully the weather holds up this time, because against Alabama A&M, it was a monsoon and not really fan friendly. So hopefully we'll have a great day out on Saturday to put a great product on the field for our fans.
Thank you, Coach Sims. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Sims, good morning to you.
Morning.
Hey, Coach, on paper, 0-5, but, on the field and on the tape, it doesn't look like an 0-5 team. So how close are you to getting to where you want to be to get that first victory?
I think we're very close, and you watch film, and I do something a little different here when we have these losses where we have one or two mistakes, in each phase of the game. We got together yesterday and we watched the film as a team, and we allowed the coaches to make the corrections in front of the whole team, so that way everybody understands what's going on. And I don't think we're far away. We're a play here or there. And again, we just have to stop, with the personal fouls. We had them stopped on Saturday. It was 3rd and 18, and we had a guy hit the quarterback out of bounds. He didn't stop. It didn't look very bad, but it's a quarterback. That's the rules. Hey, you can't do it. So those are the things that we have to get corrected. I think, again, we are close to doing that because we're not going to stop playing. We're not going to give up. And, I spoke to the guys about that yesterday. Not time to start pointing fingers. It's time to circle the wagons, rally up, and pull together so we can get this thing turned around.
And when you look at these standings, Coach, you're only down 0-2 in the Eastern Conference. So there is the possibility that you can fight your way back. So how key has that been in talking to the guys about that this season is far from over?
Well, I don't, the season's not going to be over till the last game anyway. We go one game at a time. And I'm, I didn't really talk a whole lot about the SWAC standings because we have to get in the win column. And, Valley's up next, and that's who we're focused on. I believe we have a great opportunity to fight our way back, but we can't play, Alcorn, Pine Bluff, Prairie View, Jackson, anyone else in the conference before we play Mississippi Valley. And that's just the way I feel about it. We are in a tough situation right now, but we've been in a tough situation before. We've been in this situation before and fought our way out. And I just look to, for this program to do the same thing this year.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Florida A&M. Head coach Willie Simmons. I do see Coach on with us. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Alabama State.
Definitely. Good to see everyone. Hope everyone's safe. Great team win this past week. Our home opener here, a SWAC home opener, so rather, here in Brad Memorial Stadium. Great turnout, with 20,000 fans. For the second home game in a row, the student section really, did a phenomenal job, just giving us energy, giving us life. The March 100, being able to bring opposing bands into Bragg Stadium, gives our band a lift. And so those guys did a phenomenal job. And the team came out and responded, came out the gate fast, scored a touchdown on the first drive, was able to continue to play defense at a very high level. When you take a team who scored 38 points the week before and shut them out, I mean, that's a testament to the defensive staff. That's a testament to the players and their effort and attention to detail. And they're continuing to show why they're one of the top defenses in the country. So, again, great overall win. Didn't play a complete game on offense, played a great first half. Kind of sputtered a little bit the second half. Special teams, other than the missed field goal, thought we did a phenomenal job. And so, again, 2 of the 3 phases, we played complete games. Offensively, we played a half of football, but the other 2 phases were strong enough to propel us to victory. So excited to get our first SWAC win. And we have our last non-conference game this week against a team who we're very familiar with, South Carolina State. Coach Buddy Pugh, one of the best coaches around, a legend, future Hall of Famer, and a guy I have the utmost respect for. And I know what type of team he's going to bring to the table. And so we have to get our football team prepared to play a 60-minute dogfight, because when you play that team, that's what you're going to have to do. So looking forward to it, and look forward to answering you guys' questions.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. Once again, media, if you do have any questions for Coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature. here on Zoom to get your question in queue for Coach. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Simmons, no, we talk a lot. I'm good, thank you. No, we talk a lot about your offensive prowess, but this year the focus is on this defense. I mean, they're becoming really dominant in many different ways. Don't have to read everything off to you, but just total yards, 197 yards, holding team below 100, both passing and rushing says a lot. Talk about some of the key players. I know they're playing schematically as a team, but what are some of the players that we need to continue to keep our eyes on that are really making this defense go for the Rattlers?
Well, again, everything starts up front for us. All the attention is on Marquise Bell, and rightfully so. I think he's the best player in FCS football, and he earns everything that he receives. But it starts up front. We have very good defensive line play right now. Isaiah Land is playing lights out football, 3 sacks in Saturday's game. I think that gives him 5 or 6 on the season, 4 tackles for loss. He's just been in the backfield all season. Deontay Williams, it's continued to play at a high level. So you got 2 speed rushers who are really putting pressure on the quarterback. And then interior, we're rolling about 6 guys inside. And that really helps us when you can have that many guys on the interior to keep us fresh. And then on the back end, again, to assist Bill is AC, Antoine Collier, a transfer safety from UCF. I mean, playing big-time football. And Courtney Cox is really turned into a lockdown corner over there. So, a lot of guys that are really playing good football, but it's all guys doing their 111, and that's the motto over there. And they buy into that, and they're playing for one another. They're not looking for the accolades. They're looking for dominance on that side of the ball. And 4 to 5 games, we've done that.
Coach, you talked about the atmosphere at Bragg Stadium, and this being the opener for the SWAC, it seemed like it was really a special occasion in many different ways. Do you see that moving forward the rest of the season, that type of atmosphere, or was that just because of the first game opener?
Well, no, I think that's what happens at Bragg Memorial Stadium. I've been saying it for the longest. I think we have one of the most rabid fan bases in America. We take great pride in our home advantage, our home field advantage. And so, we're always going to pack the stadium. They love their football here in Tallahassee. And it's our job as a football team to continue to bring the excitement. They're used to seeing high-scoring games and us lighting up the scoreboard. They got to get used to the dominance on defense now and maybe a little bit more conservative schemes on offense. But that is what it is. We have to do what we need to do to win. And at the end of the day, they're happy with the win. So I think you'll continue to see that. That was one of the things that really excited us about coming into the SWAC, was a chance to host teams like Alabama State, who are geographically the closest team to us in the conference. And I think it's going to form into a great rivalry over the years.
Last quick follow-up question. Back on the field, South Carolina State comes in different than we've seen in a while in terms of being a defensive. They're offensively being able to be explosive. What do you need to do on the defensive side of the ball to slow them down?
Well, it's got to stop the run. They're very dynamic throwing the football. Obviously, Corey Fields is a phenomenal football player. We faced him in the past. But again, teams like that, you have to find a way to make them one-dimensional. If you allow them to run the football, he's going to throw it and be successful. That's just what he does. He's an elite quarterback. And so we can make it to where they're one-dimensional and are forced to throw the football. Then our defensive line with Isaiah Land, Deontay Williams, those guys can get after the quarterback. But for us, that's where it starts. We have to stop the run. We have to dominate the line of scrimmage. And then we have to tackle and keep the ball in front of us.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Sir.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well today, and congratulations on that victory. When you look at your offense and we see Mr. Bishop, Mr. Jennings, and also Mr. Young, all 3 of those gentlemen were able to score. Can you talk about your offensive output, if you will, with the Rattlers?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're running back by committee right now. So Bishop Bonnet, Terrell Jennings, and Jalen McLeod have formed a nice 3-headed monster. We feel we have to be able to run the football to be successful. We don't have the all-time leading passer at the school anymore. Rashawn is playing solid football. He's not turning the ball over, which is key. But for us, we don't have that quarterback that can get us out of bad plays as often as Ryan did, who can see things happening because of his experience before the ball is snapped. Rashawn is still learning the game. And again, he's going to get better with every snap that he takes. But in the meantime, we have to rely on the run game. And so it starts with up front, those guys communicating, coming off the ball low and hard, opening running lanes, and then the running backs being patient and pressing the line of scrimmage. So for us, again, it's a little bit different than what people are used to seeing from a Willie Simmons coached offense, but our job is to find ways to win. And with our defense playing at a high level, we're not going to just throw the ball all over the yard and risk turning it over and put the defense in bad position. So we're going to be more of a ball control offense and continue to put the game in the defense and special teams' hands.
A familiar foe and the dean, Mr. Buddy Pugh, the coach, coming in from South Carolina State, and he'll bring the Bulldogs up to the highest of 7 hills. When you look into Saturday, what are you looking for, and what do you see so far?
Again, you know what a Buddy Pugh coach team will look like. They're going to be physical. They're going to get in your face. They're going to challenge you, and they're going to play hard. You know, that's what they do. They're always sound on defense. The one thing they do a little bit more than in the past is they throw the football. You know, he's been known to run the football extremely well, but they can throw the football. They have a great quarterback, and they have some dynamic wideouts. So for us, it's about being able to try to minimize his success and get him off the spot. But again, it's going to be a hard-fought football game because that's what you get when you play South Carolina State and Buddy Pugh.
Thank you, sir, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Try to get 2 more questions in. Next question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on your win, first and foremost, on your first SWAC win on Saturday. Now, I did notice after kind of going through social media last night, you coached for 4 straight quarters, but then you had a 5th quarter where you was leading the marching 100. You want to tell us about that? You got another job. You balancing 2 things, Coach?
No, not quite. It's kind of a tradition we started, I think, after the 18th season, after one of the games, big win. Dr. Shelby Chipman, the leader of the March 100, called me up into the stands to lead the 100 after the game. And after that, it became ritual. And so after every home game, we've gone 8 straight without losing. So I don't know if it's with every win or just every home game, you know, but he calls me up and I lead the band. It's something I take great pride in. Growing up here, knowing about the March 100, following them my entire life, to be able to stand up in front of those guys and young ladies and lead them in a song after victory is one of the best feelings in the world. So something that I look forward to, but got to keep winning for that to happen.
It looks very comfortable. Good luck Saturday, Coach.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Melvin Bill. Last question goes to Melvin Bill. Melvin, I believe you might be on mute, sir. Melvin, I think you're on mute there. Okay, we'll take one more question from Thomas Grant.
Yes, Coach. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Coach. You talked about home field advantage, but it seems like in this series it's been sort of the reverse. Coach Pugh is 8-0 all time at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Do you use sort of something like that to be the first Rattler team to hand state a loss in Tallahassee since 2000 as sort of a motivation for the team?
Well, the motivation for us is that, you know, our goals are still on the table, and this game goes a long way in solidifying that, you know. So again, it's not a conference game, but the stakes are just as high. And so for us, it's about preparing ourselves to play our best football on Saturday. You know, we're yet to play a complete game. We played a complete game on defense. We played a complete game on special teams, but we have not played a complete game on offense. And so for us, it's about putting the game together where all 3 phases are gelling, clicking at the same time, and doing little things right. You know, had a really good practice yesterday. We'll come back tomorrow for day number 2 and preparation day number 2, and try to get these guys ready to play a tough South Carolina State team, a team that is going to be right in the thick of the MEAC race. You know, so again, we're arguably playing the MEAC champs this weekend, and so that adds a little spice to it as well. And the fact that, like you said, Coach Pugh has not lost here at Bragg Memorial Stadium, and I know Coach, a ton of respect for him, and I know he's on his last, you know, kind of last quarter of his head coaching career, and I want to put a little notch on his belt to make sure that he doesn't leave saying that he never lost at Bragg Memorial Stadium.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Y'all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Grambling State. and Grambling State head coach Fobbs. I do see Coach Fobbs. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Alabama A&M.
Well, it's good to play at home. We've kind of been on the road, for the last, 4 weeks or so. So it was good to get back out, and, play at home and play football. Alabama A&M does a really good job. They have a really good program, really good football coach, really good staff and really good head coach, and have a really good plan, and, we're fortunate, to come out with a victory.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open up the floor for questions for Coach Fobbs. If you have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom. Our first question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach Fobbs, how are you?
Hi, Miss Kelly. How are you doing?
All right, good. So congratulations on your win on Saturday. So going into the game Saturday, I know the G-men were posted as underdogs. Can you just kind of talk about first Noah Bowden coming in as the quarterback and him being the future of the G-men?
Well, we knew how talented, Noah was, but, we wanted to make sure that, that we're focused on, making sure that, we take care of him as a young kid. Noah got here, second week of July. And, we've been working on our new plan since the last of May. So it would have been unfair to him to kind of throw him in there, against, the caliber talent we were playing, the Southern Misses and the University of Houston's. But the talent is there, and so we wanted to make sure we gave him same amount of time to be prepared, which is 3 months that we gave, everyone else to be prepared. And but once we felt he was ready, we put him in the second half of the Cotton Bowl Classic, and he showed some good things. But we also wanted to make sure that that we continue to teach him, and he's done a really good job. Of course, there's a lot of mistakes, but that's to be expected. With your first outing, but to throw 3 touchdowns your first game out with the type of ability that he has, that means a lot. So we're looking forward to him. To continue to improve, to get better, continue to improve in Coach Marty's system, and continuing to grow.
Okay, and that's a follow-up question. Can you kind of just talk about your defense on Saturday, please?
Well, we've been pleased with our defense all year long. There's been some lulls in there, some quarters in there where we have not played well, but for the most part, we've played pretty well, as a defense. There's some things we have to get cleaned up and get corrected. But, for us, it has always started, on the defensive end. And we just always try to play complementary football to make sure that we're complementing, what we do, and also in the kicking game.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Mia Berry.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on your win this weekend.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. And speaking of your defense, you had one player in particular, Dan Fields, get his first interception of the season. How was it seeing Dan get on the field and make a play like that?
Well, it was huge. I pull for Dan, so much. I think he's one of few people that the COVID situation and the pandemic has actually helped, in a positive way, even though it has affected his family as well. The kid has been through so much. When you look at 2019, almost having his leg amputated, to being in a position in 2021 where he's back playing football, and he's gone through 7 knee surgeries, numerous of family members that have had COVID. Last week he lost his grandmother, and for him to be the most resilient player that I've ever coached is just truly amazing. And then you try to find a way to make sure he's ready to play, and he has his legs under him, and he gets in the game, playing linebacker for us, and makes a play, dropping in zone and intercepts a football. So he's definitely the leader of our team. He's one of 9 seniors that we have on our team. we're a sophomore, redshirt freshman, and somewhat junior football team. And for him to really come in and make a play, really brings joy to my heart, because so oftentimes you come across people who don't do things right, who cheat, who do various things that are really not professional, and then they come out ahead from time to time. But just to see him, a guy that's doing things the right way, not only in front of everyone but behind the scenes, that means a lot that he's experienced some success.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Fobb, tremendous statement that you just made about that young man and accolades. I appreciate you sharing that. Wanted to ask, I know you have personal assessments that you have in terms of the coaching room with the quarterback, but could you give a general overall assessment of Noah?
Well, I think, for his first ball game, we were very, very pleased with him. There was some reads in there that he missed, some opportunities, that he missed. But that's to be expected. We're willing to live with, some of those mistakes. There's going to be growing pains. But the young man can throw the football, and he gives us what we need in the passing game to be compatible with our running game. So, as long as we're playing really good defense, playing well in the kicking game, and doing what we need to do offensively, we're going to continue to do that.
Follow-up question is about that defense that you talked about, that everybody recognizes playing really good football. Can you talk about what they're doing so well as a group, and then talk about maybe a couple of key people that we need to keep our eyes on that are playing at extremely high level?
Well, I think they're playing well together. Of course, Alabama A&M, they made their share of mistakes, and I'm pretty sure from their side, they'll say that, there were some things there that they missed, but there's also some things that we missed, but I think, at the end of the day, you gotta make people uncomfortable. You can't, allow people, we call this thing, scoring off the dribble, shooting off the dribble. And that's really, our mentality defensively. Try to force people to run off the spot and score off the dribble, as opposed to having their feet set and just making, consistent throws. So that's really what we try to do. We try to be physical, and really force people to kind of start looking at the rush as opposed to looking downfield. And that's really what it's about, just making people uncomfortable and making them do things that, they don't want to do.
Thank you, Coach Fobbs. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Fobbs, how's it going, sir?
How you doing?
Pretty good. When you look at Grambling State University football, the first 2 weeks or first 2 Saturdays in October, you guys run into Mr. Glass with Alabama A&M, and then this weekend you'll see Mr. Harper and Felix Harper. Can you talk about battling with 2 of the best quarterbacks in FCS football in as many weeks?
Well, I mean, that's what you're going to get, in this league. I've been in this league for 8 years now. And, when I first got in this league, it was competitive at the time. But there was like some up and down slopes that you went over, as you competed, in the league. But I'm just so proud and so excited, so happy for this conference and the jump that it's made. When you look at the level of coaching in this league, when you look at the level of playing in this league, the discipline and organization of everybody that's commanding these teams is truly amazing. Not to mention, the quarterbacks that are in this league. There are some really good quarterbacks, and I know everyone talks about, Glass and Harper, but there's some other great players, in this league. So every week you're going to play against, a really good football player and a really good quarterback and a really good team and a great coaching staff. And that's what this league has become. It has become a league to be reckoned with in the FCS. And in my opinion, I believe it's one of the top 2, conferences in FCS football.
Coach, you're also developing a quality student athlete in the quarterback that you have there. Can you just talk a little bit about the significance of the quarterback position as we look at the history of Grambling State University and obviously Doug Williams and the big G on the helmet and what that means historically?
Well, it's big. We've been very, very frustrated in the last three years or so because, we haven't done a really good job of getting that guy. And we all know that this thing begins and ends with the quarterback position. Of course, you got to play really good defense and you got to have and you got to be great in the kicking game as well. But if you look at football on any level, he who has the best quarterback has the best chance to win the conference. And that's just the way it goes. We feel we have a young man that can be that guy, but it's going to take a lot of work, of course, in order to get there. But we feel that we have the necessary pieces in place in order to make that run. So we have to continue to work. We have to continue to develop. We're going to get behind this young man and give him the tools that he needs in order to be successful. And hopefully we can be consistent, from here on out.
We are running against time. I'll try to get two more questions in really quick. Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Fobbs. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Hey, Ty.
Just want to ask you about something that happened before the game. You commented after the game that you knew your team was ready to play in pregame chapel because of the spiritedness in that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have this thing, that we do, here at Grambling where, on Saturday morning we have chapel every Saturday morning before every game. And, I'm always focused on the how and how you practice, how you go about your business, how you go about doing things. And this may have been one of the best chapel services we've had. All of them have been really good and instrumental in educating and developing and teaching our young men. But just the spirit of the day and the spirit of the morning and how they attacked the morning from the word go, I thought was amazing. And I just knew that, we had something in us and we were ready to go. And, and come to find out that's what happened.
And in 8 seasons, Coach, you're 22-2 in October. What do you attribute that to?
Scheduling. I mean, when in September, you're going to play those teams that, that are really, really tough, because you have to balance the books, just being honest. That's just part of it. And those are the things that come into play. Of course, we're extremely competitive and we want to win every game, but it just becomes one of those situations, we've gotten, kind of the teeth into our players, once we get into late September and early October. That's just the way it goes. And we've always had a mindset, to improve, as the weeks go on. That's not to take anything away from, any teams that we play in this league. Our mindset and our goal is just to improve, every week, and that's just the way we go about our business, regardless if we're 5-0 at this point, regardless if you're 0-5 or whatever, you just got to improve every week and continue to teach. We believe in being teachers by nature, and that's really what it's about.
Thank you, Coach.
Last question goes to Tolly Carr.
Hey, Coach Fobbs. I'm just curious, could you talk about the role that patience has for you as a coach? I always consider you the most thoughtful and one of the most patient coaches, but knowing that you have a good piece, a great quarterback in the wings, but you had to give him that time that everybody else had a chance to get as well.
Yeah, I think patience is a virtue. I think, it's something that I've learned over the years. But then I've also had great tutors. I've had, people like Eddie Robinson who have poured into me. I've had, several high school coaches that played for Coach Robinson that reiterated all of the things that he taught me again. And then I have a father that, has been in this business that, continues to talk to me in my ear from time to time. So, I'm battle tested. That's just who I am. I don't panic. I don't get bent out of shape. I remain faithful. I remain patient. I've always cleared out any noise and just focused on, what was important. That's really what it's about. To me, humility is what it's all about. Patience is also important, and teaching. And when you're passionate about teaching and you're passionate about making sure your coaches are equipped with what they need so they can teach your young people what they need, that's extremely important. To me, you look at what you do and you look at what's glaring on the film and you scratch where it itches and you teach that. And that's really what it's about for me. I don't have a puffed up chest. I don't aspire to be, regardless of how things go or regardless of where we are in the standings. We're just going to put our head down and work, and that's just what, my last name represents, and I stand on the shoulders of men, that have had and carried that last name. And it's my job to uphold that.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff and head coach Doc Gamble. I do see we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, appreciate your patience. I know we are behind schedule for your normal time slot, so we appreciate your patience there. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Prairie View A&M.
Not a good night for us. Not a very good showing. We didn't play very well at all on offense or on defense. I thought Prairie View had a great game plan, and they executed it, and we allowed them to execute it. And they do a good job. They did a real good job that night. So it's hats off to them. And they stifled us, and they did what they wanted to do offensively against us as well.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open for questions for Coach Gamble. Our first question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Going forward, just talk about the Golden Lions way, moving forward, Alabama State, and just going in to look for a win and compete.
Yeah, we got to find a way. We got to find a way, and we got to find a way to play well. We got to find a way to play well all the time, and we definitely got to find a way to bounce back. So, after this afternoon, we got to put it behind us and get ready to go play Alabama State.
From a coaching perspective, it's a long season and it goes through highs and lows. Can you just talk about what that's like personally for you and just to keep your team continuing to battle and push ahead?
Well, we're in new territory for us, so it's definitely, we're in that low point right now. Knowing that, we've had our chances. I mean, we could very well be, undefeated right now. So, but it hadn't happened that way. And it's due to a lot of it is doing in our own doing. But also, we play some other good football teams. So when you play other good football teams, you got to be good. And your margin of error is slim to none, when you're playing against other good teams.
Coach, in closing, you have a lot of weapons. Skylar and the guys, you guys continue to be very talented. And that's a beautiful thing to have as you move forward. Just talk a little bit about your offense and the guys you have.
Yeah, well, our talent got to play well, and they got to play well from the start and play well throughout and play well in the end. So, but everybody got to be hitting on all cylinders at all times. So, and that's what the expectation is. And everybody got to do their job and they got to do it well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next question goes to I.C. Moreau.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself, I.C.?
All good, sir. Listen, Coach, what prompted you to make the quarterback change at that point from Feller to Xavier Vaughn?
Well, we've always been wanting to play Xavier, and even in some of the other games, usually probably, second series or third series, it fit, but two at that time, to be honest with you, offensively, we need a shot in the arm. Skylar was way off, and something I hadn't seen from him before. And so, I said, hey, maybe he needs to sit and see the game from from another view right now, and to get him settled down a little bit, and Xavier did okay coming in. So, but that's how we practice. We practice, and Xavier gets a ton of reps in practice. So, both guys do some things really, really well, the plan all along too was able to, to possibly get Xavier in on some action. I thought that was the best time to do it.
Did I hear correctly that that Scholar may have been suffering from a hand injury that last game, or maybe the week before?
I don't know. He showed up ready to play, so we expect him to play. He doesn't complain anyway. So no, but he's a tough guy, and when he is hurt, he's not going to miss anything, and he'll tell you, he did get banged up in the previous weeks in game, so. But we haven't made no excuses of it, and he hadn't made it. He didn't make any excuse of it as well. So, he gets his normal treatment like everybody else, and is always ready to go.
I'll ask one last quick question. You guys going into the game, you ranked first in rush defense, yards allowed per game, but Prairie View's rushing game really took it to you. What breakdowns did you see in that?
Not being, we was uncharacteristic of our defense. We need to get more gap control, and we had some guys out of the gaps and where they're supposed to be. Like I said, everybody got to do their job, and when you're doing your job, you got to do it well all the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Currently taking questions for Coach Gamble with Arkansas Pine Bluff. Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Gamble, how you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Want to get into this Alabama State matchup? What are some things that you see that you need to take care of this week against Alabama State?
Well, they're very stout on defense, and like I've heard Coach Hill say before, that they're salty on defense, and that's what they are. They can get after you, to play you in man, and you got to beat them. So that's what they are, and they're good in the other areas as well. Solid on special teams, and they got an explosive running back, and they can do some things offensively as well. But the biggest thing to stand out at you, that jumps out at you right now when you're watching film, is how well they are on defense.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Mississippi Valley State. Head Coach Vincent Dancy. I do believe we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing there against North Carolina Central.
Oh man, it felt great to play at home in front of our home fans, homecoming for us. So we knew that it was a big game for us. So it felt great to be at home and also to come out, with a win at home. So all in all, man, I thought it was a great day for us, and we was able to, come out with a victory.
Appreciate those comments. Coach will now open up for questions for Coach Dancy. Our first question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how you doing?
Congratulations on your homecoming win. So my one question is, can you kind of take us back to that Jelani Eason 2-yard touchdown pass to Caleb Johnson for that final play of the game?
We wanted to give Jelani a run pass option. We trusted that he would make the right play. We knew that if he was able to scramble or get outside of the pocket on any rollout or sprint out, that the defense will have a lot of eyes and attention focused on him. But we slipped the running back out, and Caleb was able to come open in the end zone, and Jelani was able to get it to him where everybody else was chasing him. That's basically it. We just wanted to give him a run pass option and let him do what he does.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on that victory at the Valley of Scholars. I'm sure it's nice. When you look at the Delta Devils defense getting better every day in every game, can you just talk a little bit about the defensive side of the football?
That's what's expected. You know, I'm a firm believer in defense wins games, and our defense understands that. But it was great to have all of our guys back. You know, we was able to get Jared Garner back, top tier defensive end in this conference, probably in all of FCS. He was able to come back this week, so we was thankful of that. He was able to affect the game in a lot of different ways that we knew he could once he joined us. And we were just playing. We started to have fun again. I thought the last few games we were thinking too much. We weren't having fun because we weren't communicating with each other on the back end. And as you can see, when we have fun and we play together, we play physical, we play hard, and we play tough. That's our motto. You know, if you play against us, you're gonna get hit. And we believe in that, and that's what we stand on, our defense. And you know, we was able to, you know, hold a good North Carolina Central team to 10 points all the way throughout the, you know, until the 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were able to score. But I thought we stood strong and we stood tall on defense, and that's what we pride ourselves on.
Now you move forward and you continue to play again this week. Just talk about your next opponent, what you see, and the thought process going in.
Oh man, I think Bethune they have a really good, talented football team. When you look at the roster, they have talent up and down the roster. I just think, you know, I think it's with any team. I think Coach Simmons changed coordinators just like I did on offense late in the summer. And I think everything is about continuity and chemistry. And right now, I think they needed just to play football games in order to have that team gel together. But they're tremendously talented. They're led by a great man, Coach Simmons. Man who I respect, man who I admire in this game, in this conference. So I just think they're right there on the edge. So we know each week, but it's no different from us. You know, we always the underdog. We know how everything is predicted. So it's no different for us preparing each week against any team, because we know that, you know, everybody's coming for us. You know, we're gonna take everybody's best shot. I think this week we're their homecoming, so we know how we need to prepare. But all in all, they're a good football team.
Thank you, Coach Dancy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dancy, your team keeps pushing forward. They got down early after the first quarter, 10-0. Talk about, I believe his name is Von Swiner. Please pronounce it. Soignier, thank you. In terms of that interception, 41-yard, and how that galvanized you for the second half.
We needed a spark. And we talked all week long. You know, our defense hasn't been our same defense for some reason. And what we used to do was create turnovers, cause chaos. And whether we living in the backfield with tackle for loss or sacks or stripping the ball, that's our mentality defensively. We want to generate and cause turnovers and just play with chaos. And we needed that. That's what we talked about the night before in our team meeting, what we needed to do defensively. And, you know, with 1 second left in the half, for the life of me, I didn't know why they chose to throw the ball, but we came up with a big play. Jared Garner got pressure on the quarterback. He scrambled around. He threw it up, and we was able to intercept. BJ was able to intercept the ball and, you know, take it all the way to score with 1 second left before the half. So, you know, it was some great things that had to happen for us to win that game, but we was blessed and fortunate enough to execute those things that we needed to execute. You know, at the end of the day, we felt like we play hard, we play tough always, but we've always found a way to beat ourselves. You know, that's been our Achilles heel for so long. You know, we stay in games and then we find a way to beat ourselves. But this week we just found a way to win the game, and I'm so proud of our guys and, you know, the support that we had. You know, it was actually bigger than us as the team. I was proud of our team and what they accomplished, but we needed this as a whole. The university, the town of Itta Bena, the city of Greenwood, everybody needed this. And I was just glad, you know, that we were able to get it done.
Appreciate you sharing the point about playing with that need to get it done for more than just the team. Now you're playing against a team in a lot of ways that's 0-5 that may come with that same type of attitude that they need to get it done at home. But also, as you said, oftentimes you seem to feel that a lot of people see you as the underdog. How do you play with that same type of intensity, taking it on the road against a Bethune-Cookman Wildcat team that's going to be as desperate as you all?
Because I think our guys understand it. Man, I think when you lose so much and for so long, you have to have a different mindset every day to come to work every day and mentally prepare week in and week out, especially when you're dealing with young men. Sometimes I can understand it. I see that we're right there. Sometimes when you've been through so much, sometimes your message comes in vain. It's hard to get the message across. So hopefully now that they understand, and all they have to do is continue to believe in each other, believe that when I say you're a good football team, that you are a good football team, and that things will happen good for you if you continuously to believe. And I'm a firm, and I'm a man of faith. I stick by my belief, and good hard times don't last always. It's just how you face it. Adversity comes and goes, and I think that's what we've been battling. And it showed that we stayed together. With 1 second left on the clock, we stayed together. We believed that we could win that game with 25 seconds left, and that's what we did. And I thought we needed that. So, to get these guys riled up, I don't think that will be the case, because we understand, man. Every week, each week, no matter the opponent, we are the guys that everybody's going to basically check as a win in preseason. We know that. And our guys know that, but I'm happy for them that they were able to capture some success. So they'll start believing even more. If we continue to work hard, work together, believing what your coaches are teaching you, that anything is possible. And we proved it, and we're gonna continue to prove it. We're not done yet. That's not gonna be our first win, man. We have a good football team, and we just got to continue staying together and playing together.
Thank you for sharing that, Coach. Great points. Thank you.
Sir.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, when you win a game like the way you won a Saturday, and considering where your program was before that, does it make it easier now for players to buy into your program and your system and what you've been preaching to them for all this time after just getting that one win?
No, sir. I don't believe it's easy to win football games. I think football it's hard to win. No matter what institution you at, what program you at, football is hard to win games. But I think, like I said, sometimes when you lose, when you've been losing for so long, sometimes I think your message it becomes redundant, because what these guys want is some success, and when you're not being successful, sometimes you can see it seems like your message is just in vain. But with all that being said, I just think I had the right guys, man. I say this all the time. I would rather be nowhere but here. It's taught me a lot as a young coach. I've grown so much going through what I've been going through. So, as they see me every day, and as I come with my attitude every day, then they feed off of me. When I mean the 24-hour rule, it's just that. We go out on Saturday and we play, and we forget about it the next day, whether it's a win or a loss. But hopefully winning becomes contagious, success becomes contagious around here, and hopefully we can build off this game and have some momentum moving forward.
I'm curious, what have you learned as a coach since being at Valley?
Man, learned a lot. I started here at 30 years old as a defensive coordinator. Now I'm 37 as a head coach. And, like I said, man, when you've been through so much, and when I mean so much, I mean losing can take a toll on anybody. Not just me. It can take toll, especially when you're a young man and you're dealing with young men in a locker room, who basically and it's just, it's hard to explain, but you learn from it. You prepare differently. You continue to learn different ways to try to make it through, and try to get your word across to the young men and tell them, and just keep preaching that message. Keep believing, having faith, working hard. Working hard pays off. Tough times don't last always. Tough people do. And we see it not only in football, but throughout the world that we live in. So, yeah, those are some of the things that I stand on and I believe in. I'm a firm believer in my faith. Trouble don't last always.
All right, thanks.
Coach Dancy, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
We now go to Prairie View A&M and head coach Eric Dooley. I do see Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us, and we do appreciate your patience. I know we're a little bit behind schedule. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent game against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, just coming into the game, we knew it was going to be a hard-fought contest. We know that both teams had a little success on the offense side of the ball, and it was trying to make sure that their defense had come to age and been playing exciting football. But we had an opportunity to start off, but, we didn't start off like we wanted to. The very first play of the game, we had a turnover. The play was successful, but the ending result wasn't successful. So we turned the ball over. But, our defense played well and held them off and gave us an opportunity to come back and try to move the football against a great Arkansas Pine Bluff defense. So I thought our young men played well for 60 minutes. Both teams laid it on the line, and that's what I expect out of all the teams out of this conference right here. So fortunate enough, we were able to get the victory.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now take questions from our media. Our first question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach Dooley, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on the win Thursday. So I'll start out here. You're now 3-0 in SWAC play. Can you first just start out with talking about quarterback Juwan passed 145 yards, 70 rushing yards. Can you start off talking about quarterback?
Yeah, Juwan has been playing well for us. He kind of understands the game, and he's very, very mature. And just his knowledge of the game helps us out tremendously. I would like to correct those stats. He had more than 145 yards, of course.
Okay.
As well, but I thought Juwan has been doing a good job for us. The guys are rallying around him. They trust him, and that's the most important thing, that he works hard. He comes to work every day. So he's been doing a good job for us, but we still have a long season ahead of us. The only thing that's important to us right now is just 1-0.
Okay. And then our follow-up question, my follow-up comment, Coach, you was clean out there Thursday night. They had some commentary out there talking about you. So it was like props to that style and the profile, Coach.
Keisha, I knew that was going to be one of your questions, but I was just going to let it wait.
You know me well. You know me well.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right. That is a nice pocket. That's really nice there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, always clean. So your football team, the Panthers, 4-1 overall, 2-0 at home. You guys are making some noise early. Can you just talk about coaching up your ball club and what you see so far?
Well, the way I look at it, and I take this from a coach that I had the privilege to coach up under for so many years. We had a good month of September. We did. But, when you talk about this conference here, you got to have a great month of October. There's no question about it. A lot of things takes place. We got off to a good start. Still got a lot of football ahead of us. I am liking where our team is at right now, where my team is at right now. Still some things we need to correct. But, of course, it's always good to make corrections with the W. So we're going to move forward and continue to try to progress and get this team to play better. I still don't think we played our best football yet in all three phases. Some things we have to correct, but that's what we're doing now, and that's what's so good about having an open date.
How the West was won. Going forward, talk a little bit about just continuing to compete in the West, in the SWAC, and just grinding every weekend.
All my career, I've been on the West, so I do understand how the West is operated. But, I just take it to another level. When you look at this conference, you got to play football every weekend. It's not I take my hats off to all the coaches as well as the players that's in our conference right now. We have a super conference to me. I did hear it earlier where I say one or two of the best conference. I'll be the first to say it, that I think this is the best conference in all of FCS football. So I know every game, you got to make sure you bring your A game because it's going to be a contest and it's going to be challenging for all the teams in this conference.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck going forward. And again, very nice handkerchief.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dooley, looking good there, Coach. How's it going?
Appreciate it. It's going well. Get a chance to get a little rest, but not much.
I understand. Keep with it. With that being said, wanted to ask a follow-up question in terms of Juwan Pass. You were referencing that he had more yards than actually was stated on the stats. Is that?
Yeah, it should have been 180 yards passing, but we'll take care of that. The most important stat that he had, we got the victory.
Certainly makes sense to me. I wanted to turn it over to the defense. The defense is playing really solid. If I'm not mistaken, it's at least 3 times where the offense has turned the ball over pretty deep in scoring territory, but they've been able to hold them to field goals. What does that say, along with some other stats in terms of the quality of defense they're playing on that side of the ball?
The confidence that I had going into this season. I knew some of the guys. We lost some guys. We lost some key guys that are playing well at other universities, but we lost some key guys. But I did understood what we had coming back. So very, very excited about those guys. They're playing some good football right now. Of course, still have a long season ahead of us, but the things that they're doing, they're understanding what's important right now for us, the third downs, as far as the big plays, and they're making sure that they take care of that. So my hat goes off to our defensive coordinator, Henry Miller, and the defensive staff been doing a great job and coming up with a great game plan each and every week.
Want to follow up and ask you about offensive side, but running the ball. Being able to run the ball very effectively, put up 200-plus yards in this game, but overall, it seems like you're doing it by committee. Brooks had a significant game, particularly in this game, with over 100 yards as we kind of measure it on 9 carries and a touchdown. But talk about the talent and what you're able to do from an offensive line perspective of being able to run the ball so effective early in the season.
That's been I won't say a pleasant surprise because I do feel that I had a couple of veterans coming back on the offensive line. But, to have those backs to run the way that they've been running has been good for us. Not trying to go by committee, whatever the game needs, that's how we're going to make that adjustment. And we've been fortunate enough to make those adjustments with those running backs to get the best out of them. So I'm very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish in the running game, but we're still not there yet. There's a lot of things that I look at when we watch our tape, some things that we miss. So there's still some items that have to be corrected, but they are correctable, I will say.
Coach, last question I have for you, Dooley, is in terms of the off week, what are the plans? What do you look forward to get done this week?
To work on Prairie. A lot of things that we have to fix, and it gives us the opportunity. Of course, of all, I thank God we've been healthy. Not a lot of major injuries, just some little nicks and bruises. So guys getting a chance to get their body back together, get back healthy, as close to 100% as possible. But just work on Prairie. Some of the things that we need to fix in all 3 phases of the game. And also the coaching staff, some things we need to fix to make sure that we're making better adjustments and making sure that we're giving our student athletes the best chance to be successful.
Thank you, Coach Dooley.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Terrence?
I'm good. Hey, I know it's still kind of early, but going back to this.
We're on mute.
I don't know if maybe I did. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. No, I was just going back to this past summer. I mean, how surprised were you at where you guys were predicted to finish in the SWAC? And did that, has that played a part in just maybe your team having a little bit of a chip on the shoulder at all?
No, we prepare ourselves. I'm not going to sit here and say as a coach, I don't look at the predictions. I do. I'm a guy that like to look at everything. I want to make assessments on everything that's going on, but that's not going to dictate who we are. We have a goal that we set every year, and now we just got to try to accomplish those goals. Nothing has been done yet, but where we picked at it, that's what folks think. We have the determining factor to all those things that are being picked. So I just like what our team is doing. That's not the focus point for us. We just want to get better each and every day.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Southern University. Coach Rollins. I do believe we do have Coach Rollins there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, obviously a bye week for the Jaguars this past week. If you could just kind of open us up with an opening statement about your team's bye week this past week.
Well, this week we did a lot of self-scout, working on offense, defense, and special teams to kind of shore up what we weren't doing well and make better of what we are doing well. So also hit the road, do a little recruiting within state, but for the most part, getting the bodies healed, getting back focused on this stretch run with self-scouting, offense, defense, and special teams.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Rollins. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Rollins, you're heading up to Texas, specifically Arlington, for the football classic. Talk about the matchup against Texas Southern. They did get a homecoming victory this week. Talk about that matchup.
Yeah, we play a very explosive football team in Texas Southern. They have a really good offensive scheme, very explosive players on the edges, led by a freshman quarterback, Andrew Body, is doing extremely well. They can light it up from anywhere on the field, so we're going to have to have all of our T's crossing the I's dotted to make sure that we contain those explosive players. They're playing very good and sound on defense, very aggressive, physical front, led by their linebacking core that's physical in the run, and they do well in the pass game. So they're putting up a lot of numbers. Played a tough preseason, pre-conference schedule with a Baylor and a Rice, and they played very well in those games. So it's going to be a very good matchup.
Follow-up question is just about the travel nature of this game. Classic in Arlington, is anything different that you do opposed to your regular non-conference traveling?
No, it's a conference game. We didn't dub it a classic. It's the classic for the game itself, but it's a conference game, so we handle it as if it's a conference game, a road conference game for us. So the preparation will be the same.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on your success. Can you talk a little bit about your offensive side of the football, mixing it up, the passing game as well as the running game for the Jags attack?
Well, at our core, we are a run-first team. We're led by our front five on the offensive line. So we want to run the ball, but, we can't be one-dimensional. So we want to mix it up and try to keep the defense on their heels by giving you multiple formations and a play-action pass and try to stretch the ball down the field vertically. So, but at our core, we are a run team.
Coach, the next game up, next man up, next game, next Saturday. When you march forward 1 week at a time, why is this game coming up so significant?
Well, it's the second conference game. All of them count. Every one of them count, but it's also a SWAC West game. So it's very important from that standpoint. So it's the most important game because it's the only one that we have on our schedule for this week.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Hey, Coach. You had talked about the fact that Ladarius Skelton still has a role in this offense. What are some of the difficulties in creating a role for a second quarterback? What you want to do? Is it going to be situational, or did you spend some time in the week figuring out how you're going to get him back in there and get some reps from him?
His role determines his health. So when he's healthy, his role will increase. But right now, we need to make sure that he's healthy. As you know, that he hadn't been 100%. So 100% Glenda McDaniel gives us the best chance to win at this moment.
And if he is healthy, though, how difficult is that? Is that something a coach dreads, having to try to figure out how to play two quarterbacks?
I think it's a good problem to have when both of them are capable.
Okay.
Currently taking questions for Coach Rollins with Southern. Any final questions? Last question goes to James Hill.
Coach Rollins, as you continue to guide the ship, so to speak, for Southern University football and that proud legacy, what's your assessment so far as you move forward through this season?
Well, right now we're 2-2, but the most important stat is that we're 1-0 in conference play, and so our goal is the same: is to give ourselves an opportunity to play for a conference championship, which is the goal of every team in this conference. So right now, if you're going by that measure, we're just glad to be where we are, and we want to continue in that path.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take one more quick question from Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, I know you don't like to talk about injuries too much, but you had some guys go down in the secondary. You have to depend on your depth. What did you see in practice this week from the guys that you might have to play, or guys that, some switching around that you may have to do in that defense?
Whenever you mention, you're only a play away, it's not real until it becomes real. And so Saturday 2 weeks ago, it became real. So what happens is now you have a lot more focus and attention from the guys that are farther down that depth chart, because it's real now whenever you say you're a play away. And the standard is the standard, and the expectations are the same. So when you're on the field, you're still expected to make that play. So you have a lot of focus and a lot of attention to detail from the guys that's farther down that depth chart.
Did you learn a lot about some of the guys this week, or some of the guys that you may have to depend on?
Absolutely. Anytime you can get a week of practice with guys that have an opportunity to play a little higher in the depth chart, and you see how competitive they are and how athletic they are, and they reveal some things to you that you probably wouldn't have saw in a fall camp setting.
Coach Rollins, appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Texas Southern and head coach McKinney. I do believe we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going, Andrew?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you would please start out with an opening statement about your team's win there at homecoming over North American.
Yeah, got a much needed win this past weekend versus North American. Thought it was really a team win, a well-deserved and much needed team effort, team win by our guys. Played extremely hard in all phases of the game, and just improving each week. And that's been our goal, to get a little better each week. And we feel like we're on that path.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open it for questions for Coach McKinney. Our first question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
Good. How's it going, Charles?
I wanted to ask this question. How important was it to play in such a dominant fashion in a packed house homecoming crowd for you and your team?
Really love playing in front of our fans. But as far as the win goes, it doesn't matter to us if it's a blowout or a 1-point win. We don't take winning for granted. And we just appreciate the effort that our guys have given each week. And we feel like we deserve that type of atmosphere. And when we get that type of atmosphere, we are inclined to give those fans our maximum effort.
Sure thing. And I want to follow up just to ask a little bit about the maturation of your quarterback, Andrew Body.
Yeah, he's still a freshman. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but we're to the point to where we have to live with his mistakes and allow him to grow. Experience is the best teacher, and each week we expect him to get a little bit better. And it's just our team's task of keeping him healthy, and it's his job of learning the things that he needs to learn to keep us going in the right direction.
No, sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach McKinney, how you doing, sir?
Good. How about yourself, James?
Pretty good, sir. Thank you. Your special teams and your defensive side of the football, can you just tell us a little bit about what you see there at this point in the season?
Yeah, special teams wise, we've been really solid. We all season. We had one hiccup in the Prairie View game with our punt team, but other than that, our punter's been solid. Our kicking has been solid. Our coverage teams have been doing a tremendous job of covering down on kicks. And so if we can just maintain what we've been doing up to this point, we feel really good about our special teams. And then defensively, we've played some really good offensive teams in Prairie View, Baylor, Rice, and we feel like we've got to get back to fundamentals. And this past weekend, we were as good as you could be defensively. We played a lot of guys, changed up some things schematically, trying to get our better guys in position to play, make plays for us, and we feel like the defense is headed in the right direction as well.
Coach, you'll see Southern, whether it be McDaniel or Skelton or whoever's in the pocket. Can you just talk a little bit about Southern? And again, it'll be a big game this weekend.
Definitely a big game. Southern's, they're upper echelon of the SWAC when it comes to football. So we have our work cut out for us. Doesn't matter who's the quarterback is, that they're a solid team offensively. We know they want to run the ball, and if they're able to run the ball, and then that creates play action passes and deep balls for them. And we got to focus on stopping the run. And offensively, we got to keep the ball. And when we get our opportunities, we got to score points.
Thank you, sir, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McKinney, first, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill.
With that, I wanted to ask you in terms of, you've been around the game at many different levels in many different ways. What is the significance, importance psychologically of a win for a program that hasn't had many wins over the years?
I think it's huge. When you're going week to week and you're losing games, you feel like you had an opportunity to win games, and it just does something to your psyche when you lose from week to week. But when you get that win, it does something to your psyche as well. It allows you to have a sense of confidence and play with a level of confidence going into the next week. And we feel like that's where we are at this point in time.
Moving forward, talking about that confidence going into the second conference game against Southern, as you said, the team that is recognized by many as one of the upper echelon teams. What are some of the things that you need to do against this team, first starting on the offensive side of the ball?
Offensively, the first thing we got to do is take care of the ball and not give them extra opportunities with the football. And if we can take care of the ball, move the chains on third downs, and score when we have those opportunities, we feel like the offense will give our team a chance to be successful.
Last one I have for you is defensively.
Yeah, you move over to the defensive side of the ball. Like I stated earlier, they want to establish the run. They got those big linemen up front, and quarterback that runs the ball really well, running backs that run the ball really well. So it's going to be a physical game up front. We're used to that from Southern, but we got to stop the run first, and then once if we're able to do that, we got to maintain in the pass coverage.
Last question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on your win on Saturday. I asked you, what was the guys' morale like right after the game in the locker room? What was that locker room presence like?
It was like it's never been since I've been here. Guys were really excited about finally getting a win, and not just getting the win, but playing well while doing so. And it was a lot of excitement, a lot of guys ready to go out and celebrate the win with the homecoming festivities.
All right, and before last question, can you just kind of talk about that donation from Michael Strahan with the helmets?
Yeah, this is actually his second donation since I've been here. He donated quite a bit of money for some shoulder pads our first year. We called him up and wanted to change our look from a helmet standpoint, and he was more than happy to take care of the program from that standpoint. It's, he's done a tremendous amount of work with our program. He's talked to our players. He's given them his personal number so they can call him individually. And we just appreciate the things that he's done for our program since we've been here.
Thanks, Coach, and good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right, we now go to Jackson State and Jackson State head coach Sanders. Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, everybody?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Obviously, a bye this past week, Coach. If you could please open us up with a statement about your team's bye week.
We worked our butts off in the bye week. We practiced for 3 straight days. Then we gave them Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. Got a good practice in yesterday evening. The guys are ready, man. They have been studying their butts off. They really, when you say about it, they like to go home and see the family, but they said, Coach, we ain't getting ready to go out. We ain't with the party stuff. We're not with the foolishness. We locked in and we're focused and we're committed. So we got a great response today. Everybody got back pretty much on time. We only had a couple knuckleheads and get back on time, and they'll suffer those consequences. But other than that, man, SWAC football is unbelievable. It's like a darn roller coaster of emotions, and we can't wait to finally play our role in this emotional roller coaster.
Appreciate those opening comments. Coach went up for questions for Coach Sanders. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
What's going on, boss?
Let me ask this question. Obviously, the personnel has changed from this past spring, but just in terms of looking at this Alabama A&M offense, how important was it just to kind of see them this past spring in terms of getting a familiarity of them and in terms of what you have to do to prepare for them this coming week?
It really wasn't about seeing them. It was about seeing us. I mean, we got a true understanding of who we were and our lack thereof in the spring, and we made those necessary adjustments. Alabama A&M, they came here and played their butts off, played a good game. The quarterback had a tremendous game against us. Those receivers lit us up. Defensively, they were okay. But offensively, they did what they needed to do to get out of here with a victory.
Classic number one offense versus number one defense. What are kind of the keys to the game in terms of Jackson State getting the victory?
Well, you got to put pressure on the quarterback and make him become accurate. He has to be accurate. You know how we do it. We go on. We play football. We go at you. Ain't no sugarcoat nothing. You know we coming. And they got to make those necessary adjustments. And offensively, we got to do what we're capable of doing. We have not lived up to our capability or expectations as of yet. And we've made some changes, and we're going to do some things that are unique. And I can't wait to see how it plays out.
Sure thing. Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you, boss.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Prime, how's it going, sir?
How you doing, my man?
Pretty good. When you think about the topic of recruiting, you talk about FCS, the number one recruiting class at J-State, and then you look at the future and guys playing on Friday nights in high school. They could go anywhere, Power 5, or they could come back home, so to speak, to the SWAC and play for you or an HBCU. Talk about that conversation. And again, it's about the best quality student athletes.
It is. Recruiting is so different now. It's not like it used to be. It's not like it once were. So when you talk about recruiting, oh my God, what did that do, Dennis? I just clicked something. Oh, can you hear me, guys? I'm sorry. I apologize.
You're good, Coach.
Okay, when you talk about recruiting, you got to break this thing down in 3. You talk about grad transfers. You talk about just guys in the portal, and you talk about high school guys. You got to understand what's your needs. What's your darn needs? What do you need right now? Do you have the time? Is your college going to give you the time to develop these young men out of high school? Because that's predominantly, let's just say it the best, that's a 2-year process. Now, grad transfers, that's immediately impact. You're looking for immediate impact in just guys in the portal that you think could help your team. You got to really do your homework and understand why are they in the portal and what luggage are they bringing, and can you deal with that kind of baggage, because they could consequently help your team, but they can hurt your team and disarm your team as well. So the recruiting whole thing is different. You long gone is the recruiting day where you're going to find 25 kids out of high school and bring them in and develop them. That's over. Nobody's ever going to do that again. So those high school numbers are going to be down, because you would rather risk a guy that's already in a program that you're already seen on film and on tape at the collegiate level. But recruiting, it is what it is. I hate that our budgets are what they are in the HBCUs. Hopefully we can up that with television contracts and more popularity and more things that we could bring to the table financially. But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but we got to do the best that we can do to get those kids to HBCUs.
Coach Prime, now that you're in it and you've been here and you see it from the inside, how is the HBCU experience in that perspective and what you see?
I love it. My kids love it. My team love it. My coaches adore it. We love what's transparent. I think the popularity is soaring. The notoriety is soaring. The likability, even when we're on national television playing on that stage, fans are pouring in just to see what the product is. And hopefully, I haven't checked the numbers weekly, but hopefully the numbers are climbing, and that gives us the argument that why not us?
Thank you, sir. In closing, J-State at Alabama A&M, Mr. Glass, he likes to throw it around. What do you see?
He's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's a pro caliber quarterback. I pray to God this kid gets an opportunity to play at the next level. But right now, we got to deal with it. And he's a really good quarterback who knows the game, who has a grasp on the totality of its offense and knows his weapons that he has. He runs that offense to a T. I love what he presents. I think he's a pro.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Tolly Carr.
Hey, Coach Sanders, the last time we talked about the run game after Louisiana Monroe, you said you were going to work on it. You had another game against Delta State. How do you feel like you guys are heading into this game with the run game?
I feel like we're horrible. We can't run the football right now, and we're trying to figure out that problem so we could enhance that. We're not doing well running the ball. That's the attitude. That's the attitude with the front line, and we've been on their butts about that particular attitude. Hopefully, we addressed it in the bye week. We're addressing it this week at practice, and we hope to do much better than we've shown thus far.
And last question for me. October, college football really starts to heat up. And when you look at football outside of HBCU football, it's all topsy-turvy. The regular dominant teams are down. There's a lot of surprise teams, which could create even more of an opportunity for eyeballs in the marketplace. You're going to be on TV just like the rest of these guys. How important do you think it is right now for the SWAC and HBCU football to take advantage of October and even impress more viewers out there?
Well, it's important that we put our best foot forward. It's important that we place a product on the field that is conducive to winning, a product that plays the game with excitement, commitment to the excellent structure, discipline. They're smart as well. And those guys that we're, I would say not fronting, that's not a good word, publicizing more like the Kill Glass, those guys do what they do when they get the opportunity to be on their stage. We got several guys on our team can really do it. We know they're pro caliber guys. We just want them when they have the stage, when they have those lights, that they shine. That's the dream. That's the hope. That draws people to you.
Thanks, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Wilton Jackson.
Hey, Coach Sanders. In the spring, you talked about how things would be a lot different in the fall, and so now you're getting a chance to play Alabama A&M again. And obviously, it's been a lot of talk about Kill Glass, but those receivers are on the ends of catching those balls. So, what have you stressed to your guys in the secondary in terms of like being ready to ball out against those receivers?
Well, you got to understand, man. I think our defense leads the SWAC. Our defense is pretty darn good, so I got to give some love to my kids as well. Those receivers are phenomenal. When I tell you phenomenal, they really get the job done, and they got a wonderful quarterback and a coordinator that's dialing it up. I mean, it's our job to go out there and do what we've been doing. We've been stopping some pretty good offenses that we faced, and that's what we're going to do. That's the goal.
Absolutely. And my follow-up question is this. Obviously, a couple of games this season, you struggled to finish late down the stretch. How important will it be to finish this game if it gets to that point up in Huntsville?
We got to finish. We got to finish what we start. We got to finish at practice. We got to get better on third downs. We got to get better on fourth downs when we attempt to go for it. We got to do better stopping the opposing team on third downs, which we've pretty been good at. But it all comes down to the offense doing what we're capable of doing. The defense has been showing up. The special team has been showing out. Now the offense has to do what it's capable of doing. And that's the scary thing. To just think that we both to 3-1 record, and we have not even lived up to expectations.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach Brown.
Next question
Thank
goes
you, sir.
Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. To open the season, you guys played FAMU and beat them in an important game. Now you're playing Alabama A&M, another SWAC East Division game. Could you talk about the importance of winning those types of games? You guys up for the stretch run in October and November?
We want to win every game. It's not those type of games. We want to win every game. That's the goal. That's the target, to go out there and perform. And the thing is to perform at practice, man. I mean, practice really pretty much puts us in place to perform in the game. If the guys do it at a level where they're not seen, being seen at another level is fairly easy if you do it in the dark. So we got to practice with perfection. We got to practice with a goal in mind. We got to practice with the understanding of this is who we are, and we're doing a pretty good job of that. So the goal is to win every game, not just the classics, not just the big games like this, is to win every game.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Coach Sanders, how you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing great. You talked about bringing in a lot of different people and how they come in. One guy that's worked out really well for you guys so far has been James Houston. Just talk about what he brought to your program and, maybe some of the things that we don't see, as well as the sack numbers and things like that.
James Houston is a guy who came in to play linebacker, but we have two linebackers that are all SWAC. We have two linebackers that are pretty darn good, and we just recruited another two young guys that can flat out do it, and they're the future of this program. He came in here. He was a little out of shape when he first came, but he got that together fairly quickly. And we just saw his blitzing ability and saw that he had a tremendous gift that you really can't teach. So we put him outside of the defensive end and the rush end and let him do what he does. And the rest is history. I mean, he practiced with a certain passion and intensity. When he rushes, he's like a heat-seeking missile. He's going in there with bad intentions. And I love what he brings to the table. He has to be disciplined on every play. I have to give it his all on every play, and that guy's going to be in the NFL one day. I promise you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Time for two more questions. Next question goes to Rashad Milligan.
Hey, Coach. This past weekend,
get down with Rashad like that.
USC.
Let's go to the next question.
Final question goes to Mark Craig. Mark, I believe you're on mute, sir.
Okay. Hey, Coach, how are you?
How you doing, sir?
In terms of where your team is compared to where they were the first time that you played Alabama A&M, when you see them now on film, how much better are they going into this week's matchup?
They're better. I think they're a better team. They have a better running game. The quarterback is who he is. The receivers are who they are. Defensively, I pretty much think they've improved quite a bit as well. But we're better. Forget about them. I think we're better. We're a whole different team. This is not what you've seen before, I promise you. This object you see in the mirror are much closer than it appeared. That you're dealing with in the spring, I promise you that.
I wanted to ask you a question off the field, having worked in the media business, and talk about Thursday night opposite the NFL. And I know Thursday's a big night in terms of exposure for HBCUs, but would Friday work better? You understanding both sides of that game?
Yeah, I don't like Thursdays, man. I don't like Thursdays. You know why I don't like Thursdays? I don't like Thursdays for the fans. Who's coming? Who's coming? The thing that I don't like to see empty stadiums. That's not putting our best foot forward. I know we want to be on television. I know we want to look, but is that really putting our best foot forward? Our people are traditionally weekend people. We like to tailgate. We like to get out there. We like to see the bands. We like to see the pageantry. We like to see all of that. That's not going to happen on a Thursday night. You know why? Because our people got to work. Our people got to work on Thursday, then they got to work on Friday, then they're looking forward towards the weekend. So I don't like Thursday night games for our people.
That's just Friday night work. Do you think Friday night will work?
Friday may be more conducive, but then you stepping on the high schools. I mean, everybody got kids, everybody got their babies. They want to see their kids, and you're trying to take from different markets. I like Saturdays, not Saturday nights. I like Saturdays, man. That's what I like. I know you're competing against a lot of other networks, a lot of other schools. But why not? That's when we need our own darn network. We need a network for our people. We need you to turn the channel to see us, and then we'll know true numbers that we have. And that's the problem. We always talk about equality, but we're not supporting each other. This darn stadiums are empty on Saturdays. They empty on Fridays, then they empty on Thursdays. Let's be who we say we are. We keep talking about let's keep it black, let's keep it this, let's support one another. I don't see the stands doing that. I think a few weeks ago we played right down the street, an hour and a half away in where was that? Louisiana Monroe. Our side was not packed. It wasn't halfway packed, but we go 3 hours from here and we call it the party, we call it the classic, then we want to come. I don't understand that philosophy. So do we have real football fans or are we just here to party? Y'all tell me, because y'all been in this thing a lot more than I have, a lot longer than I have, but I don't like what I see. I think
you got SWAC fans. I don't think you have to worry about that, but Thursday is a challenge. And that's the point of it. And then it's opposite the NFL, and you know how that 800.
Well, you ain't competing with the NFL. You're not competing with the NFL. Don't even try that. We're not competing with the NFL. No, we ain't competing with the NFL. Ain't no fans to say, you know what, I'm gonna stay home and watch the NFL game. I'm not gonna go to SWAC game. That is never the topic of conversation. We're not competing with the NFL. We're competing with life. That's who we're competing with. Going out there and offsetting our life. Ain't nobody getting in the car and gonna drive hours away to another HBCU city to support their baby unless it's their baby, unless it's their child. They're not doing that. We got to do a better job of supporting on a darn Saturday. Talking about a weekday. We ain't supporting us on a Saturday. I look in the stands, man. I see this. We could do better. I'm sorry. We could do better. Y'all know we could do better. Ain't nobody gonna say it though. I'm gonna say it. We could do better.
That's why I like talking to you, bro. You always you say what people think.
I love it, Mr. Gray. We can do better with supporting our own. We keep fighting for these rights and we keep fighting for equality, and we ain't even supporting what we got. I don't like that part of it. I'm sorry. I don't. Let's pack our own stadiums. Let's pack. Now we gonna pack this thing this Saturday. I promise you that. I mean, you know, Jackson State, I love. We come deep already, so we're gonna pack that because it's a little rivalry. It's a little blood in between. You know, the coach said something about me. I don't shoot back because I don't do that because I'm really good at that. And I don't choose to do that. You know, I'm on this high road right now. That's what I'm doing. I take it the high road right now. I'm a different dude. So I don't do that. But, you know, everybody's waiting for me to do that. And, you know, the conclusion of this matter, we just going to have to sit and see. Am I going to do that?
Who's going to win the World Series?
I don't even know who in the World Series, man. Man, I'm so into this world, into Jackson State, man, into my kids. I don't even know who's in the playoffs in baseball. I don't even know if they started the playoffs. I love NFL football now. I do love that, but baseball, I'm not following right now. I apologize.
No worries. I was just messing with you because I covered you in Atlanta. So.
Oh, thank you, my man. I hear they're in the playoffs though, right?
Yeah, they won the division.
Amen.
15th time in 21 years. So
wow,
they doing themselves. But I was there where you should have been in the game, and they shouldn't have pinch hit for you with Ron Gant. But I won't even go down that road.
That should have been MVP too.
I know.
That's what I wanted.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. God bless.
That trophy after what they did to me, I wanted them to hand me that trophy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Mr. Gray.
Talk to you soon.
God bless.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you. Can y'all stop letting Mr. Bishop on here because he's too clean and he's too comfortable in his seat. Let's make sure we monitor that, Mr. Bishop.
Retirement does well for that brother.
Yes. Okay.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right. God bless you, Mr. Bishop.